Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am here to talk about two episodes of Arrow. That is episode 517, titled Kapiushon, which premiered on Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017 on the CW, as well as episode 518, titled Disbanded, which premiered Wednesday, March 29th, 2017 on the CW once again. Guys, so sorry for the delay, but the week that 517 had aired, I was swamped with work to the point that I was getting double the hours than I usually get. So I had just enough energy afterwards to just watch the episode, and that's it. And since I hadn't recorded by the time 518 aired, I figured why not just combine the two together, and that's where we are right now. So huge spoiler alert: if you haven't seen either of the two episodes, I urge you to go do that first, then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other story or my other video reminders are up on screen right now to take a moment to remind yourselves of those. And with that said, guys, let's start with the 20-minute clock this time. Hopefully 10 minutes for each episode. And let's begin with what happened in... Let's start with 517. So in 517, timeline-wise, it's been 6 days since Oliver was captured by Prometheus, which happened at the end of 516. Now, episode reminder is the fact that this is pretty much a huge flashback-centric episode. Every season so far, there's always at least one episode that truly focuses on... the flashback storyline, as Oliver in the present day is not really in a position where he's doing so well. Like in season 1, we had Oliver dealing off with being poisoned in episode 114. In season 2, I think it was 215, we had the whole flashback scene. Can't remember how Oliver was incapacitated in season 2. I think he was on the island, I'm not sure. But usually every season or so, there's always one episode, and this episode was that episode. But episode breakdown for 517 was pretty much two storylines. Was the fact the first one, it's major focus on the flashback, and the second one has to deal with Adrian torturing Oliver in the present day until he reveals his true secret. So flashback wise, we actually see Malcolm Merlyn meeting with Kovar for a business deal. Anatoly meets Malcolm, but it's never expressed to Oliver that Malcolm is in town meeting with Kovar. So there's that. Also, we see Anatoly becoming the new Pakan, which happens after Gregor dies, as he was the new Pakan. I'm guessing that's the one of the hierarchies within the Bratva. We also see Galina, which is Tiana's mother, being killed by Kovar when it is discovered that she helped Oliver get inside of Kovar's operations. Then we also see Oliver killing Kovar later on, despite Anatoly trying to give him a way out of doing it. But it seems that Kovar isn't really dead because of intervention by Malcolm Merlyn. Don't know what exactly happened or how exactly he survived, or if anything special happened out of that intervention. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But storyline 2, though, in the present day, like I said, we see Adrian Chase, aka Prometheus, torturing Oliver until he reveals his true secret, which happens to be the fact that Oliver kills because he likes it, not because he has to do it. We also see Adrian killing Evelyn, only for it to be discovered that it was all a show to break Oliver down. So Evelyn was in on it. They faked her death for a brief moment. So they're trying to get him to confess to the fact that he likes killing just because he likes doing it. So there's that. Last moments of the episode show Oliver returning to the Arrow Cave after Adrian Chase had kept his word. If Oliver revealed his secret, he'd let him go. And Oliver tells Diggle, Felicity, and Curtis, who were in the Arrow Cave, that he's done being the Green Arrow and that he's shutting the team down. So tidbit-wise, we see Anatoly repeatedly telling Oliver that the Hood is a bad route to go down and he will regret it someday. And we also see Oliver getting his Bratva captain tattoo, only for Adrian to burn it off in the present day. We found out that the reason why Anatoly wanted to give Oliver the Bratva captain tattoo was so that everyone in the Bratva knew what type of person Oliver was, as the tattoo represented a certain person who exemplified certain traits. And apparently Oliver did that. So there's that. Now moving on to episode 518. Timeline-wise, it is immediately after 517, as we still see Oliver. It's pretty much picks up where we left off. Oliver trying to get into some comfortable clothes after returning from his tortured week with Adrian, and him telling the team why he's calling the whole thing off, I guess you could say. Episode reminder is the fact that we see the dissolution of Team Arrow, even though Oliver says it, it's not really in place as everyone fights against that order. Now, episode breakdown for 518 is the fact that it's two storylines. The first one being Oliver calling on the Bratva to kill Adrian Chase, and the second one being the Arrow team trying to find another way to stop Adrian Chase and going against Oliver's orders. So the first one storyline is that Oliver makes a deal with Anatoly that he backs out of later on, which kind of puts their friendship on the fritz between them. We also see Oliver confessing to his dark truth to Diggle, who won't abandon Oliver. But we also see Felicity being passive on the idea of Oliver calling the Bratva to kill Prometheus. She's kind of like, well, if this is the way Oliver thinks it should be done, then we should just let it happen, while Diggle is kind of against this route. So there's that. But we do see Oliver getting back into the game as a vigilante, but he's not dressed as the Arrow. He's going into the same black masked gear that he always dons every time he's in another country. Like whenever he visits to Russia in the present day, he's always in the black gear instead of as whichever green vigilante gear he's usually in for the season. So there's that. Storyline number 2, though, has, again, the Arrow team finding another way to stop Adrian Chase, aside from killing him, and that is with Felicity using Helix to uncover some security footage that actually exposes Adrian Chase in the Prometheus outfit, and they expose that to the SCPD. Now, Curtis is pulled in to help Felicity break into Cord Enterprises for the decryption software that they need to make this security footage usable against Chase. So there's that. Flashback-wise, for this episode, we see that it's Oliver's last 48 hours in Russia before he goes back to Lian Yu so that he can make his comeback to Starling City. And it's done by Anatoly doing one last heist with Oliver to get medicine for the dying Russian citizens from a medical outbreak. So there's that. We definitely see Oliver in his hood gear in the flashbacks, as opposed to the present day where it's just all black vigilante gear. So there's that. Now, the last moments of this episode show Adrian Chase escaping federal protective custody after he's been exposed as Prometheus. And he's done it very bloody, and he does it with a smile on his face. So there's that. Tidbits, though, let's get into that. Is that I wrote Felix for some reason. It's Helix. Helix knows about Felicity's connections to Team Arrow, about her being Overwatch, and about the identities of her team, which is shown when they called Curtis Mr. Terrific. So there's that. We also get mention of Thea still being away and being kept in the loop, but she's not actually shown on screen, and she's not heard on screen. So there's that. We also see Oliver breaking up with Susan Williams, and then we also see that Prometheus, or Adrian Chase, has a very high pain threshold. His reaction to being shot in the shootout is like non-existent. He maybe just grimaces, saying like, "Oh crap! Now how am I supposed to cover this up?" type of reaction. And then when he's fighting against the federal agents, the camera shows like the back of when he's choking the man to death, and we see his back right through the white shirt of his. You see his wound open up and start bleeding out, but you get no reaction from him whatsoever that he's ripped out his stitchings. It's like it doesn't even occur to him that his bullet wound had just opened up and is gushing now. It really shows how much he can withstand in regards to pain, and that's kind of terrifying. So there's that. Moving on, though, to the most shocking moment of the episode. For 517, I will have to say that it was Oliver confessing to the fact that he kills because he likes doing it. I didn't think that was going to be it. I thought it was going to be some other deep-seated secret that we never knew about, but instead it turns out to be something like this, which really does twist everything on the axis, as it were, because now it has you questioning everything that Oliver has done for the last 5 years. If it really was because he was trying to do the right thing, or if it really was because it was an outlet for him to get his murderous tendencies out of the way. So there's that surprising factor. In 518, though, what surprised me was the fact that the Arrow team was able to expose Adrian Chase as Prometheus to the SCPD. I didn't think the footage would actually make it through the very end. I thought during their quest to try to scrub it clean so that Adrian's face was clear in the Prometheus gear, I thought somewhere along the lines it would have been corrupted or it would have been erased and they would have lost the footage. The fact that they actually got it to SCPD and it was verified and it was showed as evidence that Chase was actually Prometheus, I was shocked by that. It was a good shock, though, because it was great to see them have a win in their column. So there's that. Moving on, though, to top 3 favorite moments. For 517, I will have to say it was great for me to have not only to see the flashbacks more in the forefront in this episode, but to really see the friendship and the dynamic between Oliver and Anatoly. It's very different to what they have in the present day, but it was just great to see that despite Oliver's hellish years, I guess you could say, he was able to find a friend in Anatoly. To have him and call him a brother was really great in that dark time. So it was great to see that dynamic, many different aspects, and Anatoly trying to look out for Oliver when he tried to go down the route of the hood. So there's that. Second favorite moment for me in that episode was the fact that I was very surprised to see Malcolm Merlyn meeting with Kovar. I mean, I'm used to seeing Malcolm over on Legends of Tomorrow, so it was a really great surprise to see him make a little appearance in the flashback moment right there. And then also to have him be a part of the reason why Kovar could still be alive in the present day, so there's that. It also makes me wonder if that's how Mirakuru came back into play. If not, if it's something else that we have to deal with. But there is that. And whether or not Oliver figured out that Malcolm had any involvement in that. So there's that. Now, for episode 518, though, one of my favorite moments was the fact that we got to see all the vigilantes of Team Arrow donning on the black vigilante gear. I mean, that makes so much more sense in concealing their identities. I mean, yes, it makes it harder for us as the audience to tell who is who, as opposed to them wearing their iconic vigilante gear where we can easily spot them in action, but this idea makes so much more sense when you're trying to conceal not only who you are, but any identifying marks they have. The only thing you can really tell is whether or not they're a man or a woman, or what kind of color their eyes are. That's pretty much it. For Renee, you can kind of see the scarring near his eye, but that's about it. Otherwise, everything else is covered for them, and that's the type of thing I like. That way, it's a lot harder for anyone to distinguish who they could possibly be. So I prefer that. It makes a lot more sense logically for me. If you're going to be a vigilante, why not be dressed like that? Why make yourself more noticeable than you need to be? So there's that. That's why it's my favorite, though, because it makes more sense to me, despite the fact that I'm watching a show about vigilantes with noticeable gear. So there's that. I'll leave it at that, though. Next favorite moment for me has to be the fact that it was the moment where the Arrow team realized that they had evidence to use against Adrian Chase, something that he wouldn't have accounted for, and that was them actually getting the clear footage of him as Prometheus. It was such a great moment to see, because in that moment the team really had a victory dance, I guess you could say. You could see the joy on their faces, saying, like, this is what we needed. It's finally turning things around for them. It was great to see them have that moment after so many things have gone so wrong for them lately. So it was just definitely one of my favorites to see happen. So there's that. Another favorite moment for me has to be the fact that Diggle was not going to stop being in Oliver's corner. Despite Oliver pushing it away, Diggle was going to continue having his back and try to do what's best for him and look out for him before he did anything that he would regret. I really like that. And then to also have Diggle bring it back to the fact that this is what Oliver did when Diggle wanted to rot in prison for killing his brother. So it was great to see it being brought back to that and saying, like, you wouldn't leave me behind in that moment of darkness for me, and I will not do the same for you now. It was just really great to have that all tied together. It definitely made it more, definitely made it stand out more, I guess you could say. So there's that. Moving on to top 3 peeved moments. I only have one each for the episodes. For 517, I didn't like the fact that Evelyn was faking it the whole time she was with Oliver. I truly thought when she was pushed into that cell, she was really being tortured by Prometheus. She was really regretting her decision to join up with him, and she just wanted Oliver to end it. Not that I wanted her to die or anything, but just to have her have that feeling of, I made a huge mistake. I can't believe I sided with this psycho. It's just, I really like that version of Evelyn as opposed to the version of Evelyn who came back for the dead and realized that, oh, I knew he would break. I was following Prometheus's plan. Everything went according to plan. I want to see you suffer. I don't like that Evelyn. I preferred the Evelyn who was reeling over the fact that she made a huge mistake by betraying the team. So that was only a peeve right there. Another peeve I had was from 518, and it was the fact that there is now this strained relationship between the present-day Oliver and Anatoly. Since my favorite was their relationship in the flashback, so now to see it being strained and not knowing whether or not their friendship is over, whether they're now just acquaintances or if they're now just enemies, it sucks to see, for sure. Moving on, though, to what moment will I remember most when I look back on these episodes. 517 was a huge flashback-centric episode, like I said, and 518 you can pretty much remember it as Adrian Chase being exposed as Prometheus, not to the team, but to everybody in Star City. So there's that. Moving on, though, to random questions. I really only had one random question or two of them for 518. And the first one was, when did Curtis or Diggle know about Helix? I mean, they both referred to the group by name to Felicity, so when were they ever clued into the fact that she was working for them? Did I miss something in the previous episodes, or was it something that happened off screen? Let me know in the comments down below if you have an answer for that. Last question. Where does this leave Oliver and Anatoly in the present day? Are they now enemies? I really want to answer that because it's going to be a little harder to enjoy their flashback moments if it's going to be strained between them in the present day. So there's that. Now, moving on to the predictions. So very quickly for the promo for 519, which isn't coming back until April 26, 2017. So we have pretty much a month until a new episode comes back, which kind of sucks, but then at least once it comes back, that means we're going to be having episodes until the finale. So there's that. So anyways, promo shows Oliver declaring that Helix has compromised Felicity's security. We have the team, Arrow team, trying to rescue Felicity from Helix's grasp. And it looks like Felicity is willing to do whatever it takes to stop Adrian Chase, and Oliver is begging her not to do it. And Felicity is telling Oliver to try and stop her. So that's looking a little worrisome for me. Because of the fact that it's about a month until the episode airs. The synopsis for 519 has not been released yet. They usually do that 2 weeks before the episode airs. So all we have is the promo for that. But aside from that, any questions or announcements pertaining to the rest of the season? Well, it looks like it was announced on March 27th, 2017, so about 3 days ago, that Katie Cassidy, a.k.a. Laurel Lance, is returning to Arrow as Black Siren as a Season 6 cast regular. So she kind of was signed on to be a regular for all 3 shows this year, but she's only really been seen for 2 episodes in Arrow. So it'll be very interesting to see how they bring back Black Siren for Season 6 and how they're going to keep her on a regular basis. So there's that news right there. Otherwise, predictions pertaining to the rest of the season. I don't know what it's going to do for flashback-wise, since I thought the season was going to cover Oliver's vendetta against Kovar. But if he thinks he killed him already in 517, I don't know how else we're going to see of Oliver in the flashbacks, unless on his trip back to Lian Yu, we get him being confronted by this new Kovar, or this revived Kovar, and then have that deal with the final portion of the flashbacks until he gets to Lian Yu, I guess you could say. So there's that. Well, present day, Felix's ties with Helix is definitely going to be troublesome if it's going to surpass the 519. Is it going to further draw her away from the team? But we also have questions of what this means for Oliver as mayor, and what Adrian's exposure is going to be from. Oliver's going to have to decide how he's going to come back into being the Green Arrow or again. So a lot of things seem to be happening, but I guess we have to wait about a month to see about that, and that's all I have to say for the episode. But what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about the two? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts, theories, predictions about what you think is going to happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below for the master tag list as well as for the 2 episodes. Those links are down below. I read blog, promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. So go check that out if you like. It's also connected to my WordPress account, which is connected to everything else I post online. So if you want, follow me there as well, but it's a work in progress, so keep that in mind. I'm a little behind on certain postings, but eventually it'll all be caught up. That's about it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back in the next few weeks to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, a great week wherever you are. Bye for now, and just want to hear the timer in 3, 2, 1. I beat it. Have a great day, guys. Bye.